Searching for this all my life. You're just my type. I've been looking for a boy who can treat me right. Your dark hair, because eyes so bright.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if anyone is feeling good as gold this week because, wow.
Bruh.
I mean,
The craziest thing I've ever seen. I'm sorry to jump in.
no, I was just trying to think of like, how do I even start this episode? First of all, we have the iconic Danny Pellegrino on the mic with Brock co-hosting, and we're going to break down this finale. We're going to answer some questions.
You just
we're
led with like the greatest intro, and then you just threw me under the bottom of that.
And Brock.
Give me a little fuck.
Of all times to be here, I feel like this is Super Bowl Sunday. This is, I mean, I hope everyone watched this live because it was the craziest thing you all have ever done. And it feels weird talking about it because I know you all lived it, and it's sad. And of course, we want to say that up front where our hearts are with Ariana and all that stuff.
Yes, of course.
But just from a production level, it was incredible TV.
It was like a Super Bowl, and it was like the Patriots playing somebody else, but it was like the Super Bowl win against Atlanta Falcons, and they were down in the third quarter, and they came back and won. It was that intense.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay. Probably half the audience listening to this also doesn't have nothing to do with it.
I remember that
It's like
Super
the
Bowl.
Real Housewives of New York boat trip, or it's like the
If they all took acid and partied.
Okay, so before we get into the reunion, I thought it would be fun to play a little game. Shout out to our girl Shannon Stern, who made a game for you, Danny, called Is It Still Iconic?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we're
Yes.
going to go through like 10 to 15 Bravo scenarios and things, and I want you to give a little commentary on it and tell us if it is still iconic.
Okay. And then I'm going to ask you all my finale questions because I have so many of them. Okay.
Okay, let's do it. The SUR back alley.
Still iconic, yes. Even more so now because I missed it for so long. And then when it appeared last week on the episode, I was so excited to see that SUR dump.
Yes,
Oh,
totally.
that's so good.
The bunny. Lisa
No.
Rinna's gift.
No, I'm over the bunny. I'm over the bunny. They lean too far into the bunny all the time. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, get something new.
The Capri room.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I haven't been, but yeah, we'll say yes.
Yeah.
It's Dorit on Beverly Hills Housewives. Yeah.
Being the number one guy in the group.
No, that's not. No.
That's done.
Was that ever a thing, or did it become a thing for like
Jax made
half
it a
second?
thing.
But was it a thing? My question was not Jax made it a thing.
No,
was it a thing?
It was sort of a thing.
was a
Yeah,
thing.
it was kind of a thing.
All right. The goat cheese balls at SUR.
Yeah.
Always iconic.
They're a thing.
Having your own product line.
Yeah, but I have a problem on Bravo. I wish we could scale back the wearing of the merch. Do you know
Yeah,
what I
we
mean?
definitely
just
went
took-
hard on the last 2 weeks. You've just got so much variety of sweat and athletic leisure.
Send it to Daryl. It's all happening.
I
You're
don't
a
know.
worm.
I don't like to see all that on. It takes me out of it a little bit, and it happens especially on Beverly Hills Housewives. Like I hate the agency hat. And I get like I understand it, but I just wish I wish the network would scale. I say,
Well,
wait.
I think also like when it comes to filming, you either wear your branded products or
Right.
you can't wear branded clothing. So then you're kind of in that middle of the two. So it's like, well,
yeah,
if I'm
yeah.
wearing clothes, might as well just wear my brand.
promote my merch. Yeah, I would do it. I just as a viewer, I'm like,
You don't
we
like
need
it?
to- yeah,
Perfect. I'm going to stop wearing
Interesting.
Homebody
Good
because
to
I
know.
wear it all the time.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, but I get it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, does it have to be every scene? I think it's especially bad on Housewives. Like I don't notice it. I noticed the send it to Daryl. Was she wearing that at the finale? Yeah.
Yes.
I noticed that. But on the Housewives, it's like, oh man, every time I see Kyle Richards, she's got the agency hat on. I'm like, I don't think she would wear that normally.
Gotcha.
Right. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
This is a Luann to Bethany comment. Please don't let it be about Tom, or basically anyone named
my
Tom
God.
on Bravo.
Yeah, the Toms on Bravo are no longer iconic, but also, yeah, it's the Toms don't date a Tom.
Yeah.
It's like a red flag at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Never
Damn.
trust a Tom.
Put that on a shirt and wear it.
Brock, I'm so excited to ask you some questions too. Okay, wait, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm jumping.
Okay. Mug shots or being arrested on camera.
Oh, that's iconic. I like that.
Yeah.
I like a mugshot.
Who is Honky Dory?
Well, Kathy Hilton. Yeah, that's iconic.
Kathy
know.
Hilton
Yes.
is honky dory.
Yeah. I'm
She
a little
is
worried.
honky-dory.
Yeah, I'm worried she's not back next season. I don't know. Do you follow
Damn.
that stuff?
I do, and I heard, but I don't know for
Yeah,
sure.
I don't. Maybe she. I don't know if it's been officially announced. But
Right.
I don't think she's been like
From
spotted
her
filming.
choosing, like her going back from filming?
I guess so.
There were
Yeah.
some threats made last season, so I could see it going both
remember.
ways of them being like, "We don't need you back if you're going to threaten us." I don't know.
I get it.
Well, and I'm curious about your show too, because people on these casts say they don't want to film with certain people. So where do you guys go next season?
We're gonna figure it out, Danny. We're gonna figure it out. Lisa Vanderpump is gonna be having a lot of gatherings.
Your publicist is over here and probably just like so upset at all the editing.
Taking notes.
Hopefully we don't have to edit too much I say out.
Okay, Bravo celebrities popping up on each other's shows.
Oh, I like that.
I
like
love
that.
it.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
need more of it.
Yeah.
Well,
and
Go for
I'm
it.
very antsy for you all to do like a girls' trip or something like that where the cast of the other shows besides Housewives come together.
Yes.
Yeah.
The younger kids,
agree.
right?
Yeah.
Because why does the ultimate girls trip for the ladies or the housewives? What about like the kids?
Yeah. And
what
they-
about the younger ones? Even though we're parents.
Yeah.
They do Winter House, but I have a problem with Winter House because I feel like somehow the Summer House cast has overtaken that generation on camera, and you all are the blueprint for that. And so I get offended on the behalf
Get
of the
offended.
Vanderpump
You should
Rules
be
cast members
offended.
because I'm like, no, let's stop acting like the Summer House cast are the stars.
Yeah.
You guys built this network.
We started Summer House as well, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
We were
Have
the
some
bridge to that
respect.
show. Last one.
Okay.
It's all happening.
Oh, still iconic. Yes. And I sell like temporary
I
tattoos.
know. I've had people
on our
come up to
website.
me and show me theirs. Like at SUR, they're like, "Look, I got one." And I was like, "Where did you get them?" They're like, "Danny Pellegrino sells them."
Yeah, they're on our everythingiconic.store, I think is the website. But
Yes.
yeah, we put them up a long time ago and people still like order them all the time. And it's just one of those like
I love
temporary
it.
things. And oftentimes people send me, they'll get like a batch of them for a bachelorette party
Yes,
or something
that's
like
what
that.
I've seen
And I'm like,
too.
oh man, that must be so weird for you.
No, I love it. I mean, this has become iconic.
We ran into somebody else a couple of times, multiple people. Whenever they say they'll put their hand up for the photo, and it's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. I've always been impressed when we started dating. I was always just kind of like taken back of like, wow, the impact that this show and these cast members have on pop culture.
Yeah.
And I mean, right now you can see it. They were in the freaking White House. Like the whole world is it's so
Also,
crazy.
iconic.
Yeah.
Iconic.
I mean, it must be weird for you all because the show had a couple seasons that were rough. There was a lizard funeral and it was dark times for us fans.
Yeah.
Of the show.
8 and 9 were rough.
Yeah.
Very rough.
Yeah.
But to have this renaissance must be a mind fuck because it's exciting on the television level, but then
Yeah.
also it's weird the circumstances. That it's
Correct.
happening.
That's the thing. It's like, yay, the show is higher rated than ever, but not yay because of the reasoning. It's like this massive heartbreaking betrayal scandal that has put us back at number one. It's like, that's not how you want to get back to number one.
Yeah.
But we're there. So now what do we do while we're there? What do we do next season? Where do you think we go, Danny?
Well, I'm so interested to hear what happens. I mean, I think from a production level, I would want, if I was, let's say I had the magic keys to the castle or something. I think having Tom and Rachel there is important for story. To see
100%.
like where it goes.
Yeah, no one's saying they should be fired. We just don't want to film with them.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Like, I don't know how you could want to film with them.
Yeah.
No,
Because-
we don't. That's the thing. It's like, I'm not going to be reaching out to Rachel to get lunch to
Well,
talk.
there has never been any closure for you and Rachel, and
No,
that's,
there will have to be a conversation,
you know what I mean? That never
obviously,
happened.
Yeah.
without
It went-
a restraining order.
It went
in
from a
place.
restraining order and all that process, and going and leads straight into like the lies and the manipulation and the reunion, like all of it, all encompassing. So it makes it very difficult to be like, oh, we should have a normal conversation.
But also, let me tell you that when and if we do ever have a conversation in whatever capacity it will be a very different conversation, a very different tone, and a very different outcome than if we had it week of when everything was fresh. I fully planned on filming with her, sitting down with her when cameras picked back up. I was going to talk about what happened in New York that night with her, and I had spoken to Ariana about it. She said, absolutely, it's okay. Sit down with her, sit down with Tom, because I wasn't going to film those scenes without running it by her first, of course. But now that there's been a restraining order filed. Now that there has
All of
been
this.
so much emotional distress that I went through dealing with all of this, court, and the fact that this bitch still has not even tried to text me. I've specifically not blocked her just to see if
she reaches
one day she'll reach out.
Wait, I have
She
a
doesn't.
question for you though. Did Tom ever reach out, sort of explaining away did he ever apologize almost on her behalf, or did he have some explanation
Yes.
about the restraining order?
He tried
Yes,
to.
he blamed
tried
her
to.
family.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. I'm
Yeah.
not protecting them. He blamed her family. He said
That
that,
was-
they
yeah, you're
convinced her
right.
to do this.
Oh, so her mom or sibling or
Sandoval
something?
made it sound like it was a Britney Spears situation and she had no control over her own actions and was forced to do all of this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whether that's true or not, that is what he said.
What was so fascinating to me was that one scene. I want to know if you all knew of anything when she stopped filming.
So, also,
I have too many
one thing.
questions.
No, it's fine. This is what we're doing. One thing that I've never said publicly or anywhere was when she stopped filming, she turned her phone off. Sandoval had reached out to Brock and asked if we had spoken to her because he couldn't get a hold of her.
Turns
You
out
know?
she was okay. She would just turn her phone off, trying to figure out how to deal with it. And it was by response of her crisis PR team recommended to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the hard part, and I've mentioned this on my show a bunch of times, but it's like watching as the viewer, you keep wanting to find a sliver of opportunity to show some empathy for them. Because I don't know, just
Yes.
naturally, like that's who
Of
I am.
course.
It's like
Yeah.
I want to find some
Until
sort
this
of
episode.
and I mean with Tom too, because I knew him, but then with her as well, it's like, okay, well, maybe she was manipulated a little bit, or maybe this or that.
Yeah.
But then it's like she never shows any sort of, even on this finale, I was stunned. That one scene she
I
did film,
know.
zero remorse.
Like
Danny.
Yeah.
This is why
Like, what?
New York that night she showed no remorse. So the second she grabbed my wrist, I just had to get her as far away from me as possible because I was like, how are you not crying
Yeah.
right now? How are you not so upset? Like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like, Ariana, it was never supposed to, like, no, there was no
She
tears,
wanted
not
it.
one tear.
What is that though? Why do you?
Sociopathic.
It's like crazy. It's something.
It's not okay.
Yeah.
It's not a behavior trait that you would want to see in someone that you will care about because it's kind of just like, it's very, very selfish, but it hurts a lot of people and there's no empathy.
Yeah.
What?
I always thought she was just like a sweet dummy.
Yeah.
I didn't know she was like an evil or like
Evil.
I don't know. It's
No,
like
like, there's-
watching it.
It's hard. It's hard,
Actual-
like saying it out loud and like calling somebody evil.
But she is.
But whatever that is, it's not a normal social behavior where you could act like that. And then, but I think for her, she wanted it that bad that this didn't matter. She was getting what she wanted. They
you
were
think she-
breaking up, and she wanted to be with Tom, and she wanted that
Do you
until
think
it got
any of-
heavy.
Do you think any of it was motivated by more than just her relationship with Tom? Meaning, was some of it motivated by fame or by
I
attraction?
honestly do not think so.
No,
I
I-
don't think that was a motivation at all. I think she is a very lost girl who is constantly seeking attention
Yeah.
from men to feel better about herself.
I think it was just a confidence thing, and Tom is very good at making you feel heard. He's
Yeah.
very good at making you, listening to you. He's very good at being that good friend, which is why in a group circle we just put aside like, oh, they're close together, they're leaning in, talking to each other, they're having intimate moments. We just knew that as a way that how Tom connects with us is on an intimate level. And what I believe happened with Raquel is she took that from going from James Kennedy to then having these guys trying to hook up with her after James Kennedy and her running that gauntlet, then to having that
running that gauntlet. Oh my God.
then to having that attention. I think she needed that, and then that's what she that's what she fell in love with, and that was where at the point where she was like, well, it's been happening for so long, it's eating her away, and then it gets to a point where selfishly she wants them to break up. But she wasn't hearing that from Ariana. And you guys saw that the episodes earlier where she was like, whoa, how are you guys doing? Because she's getting a message from Tom saying that, then we're not good, we're going to break up, like it's a blah, blah, blah. She's getting fed that information. And then there's her feelings plus how Tom treats her. And it just, but then after this, you see in this episode, no remorse.
Yeah.
Zero. And you
Zero.
also have seen Tom gas her up, all season. So when he's constantly just complimenting her and being the way he always was with his friends, so much love and your number one cheerleader and all of that. So it's like, he was that to her, she was that to him, but then it went beyond that. And it should have just stayed at a friendship.
Yeah.
And the fact that they both crossed the line one time, then another, and it just kept going. It just makes this whole thing unforgivable to me.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's like, but you always get over everything and you see both sides, and when Lisa asked me this the other day if I've talked to Sandoval, and I'm like, no, because people always see me as the person who sees both sides, who understands, who's like, yeah, but she did this, but it's because of no, moving forward in life, in general, this has completely changed who I am as a person. This has changed how I trust people. This has changed who I let in, who I share things with. This has really, really changed me. So moving forward, I think you're going to see a different Scheana, because
That's exciting.
I can't condone, accept, or anything that behavior. Just got back from New York. I actually slept on my flight, therefore I missed my meal. But thanks to Factor getting delivered every Tuesday, these were ready for me right in my fridge when I got home. These meals are always fresh, never frozen. They have over 34 different ones to choose from every week. Put it in the microwave, 2 minutes, ready to go. And in 2 minutes, it's ready. So if you're a busy working parent like I am, you don't always want to figure out the cooking, the cleaning, all of the mess and prep is just too much for me these days. And also, one thing that's great about Factor is everything is recyclable. So I'm not wasting anything. I'm just eating good, flavorful meals. Click this link. Enjoy.
Well, and I think the worst part about the whole thing, obviously the cheating is bad, but I always think about the mindset of they knew that this would be humiliating to Ariana.
Yes!
And so, that's what doesn't sit well with me, is they kept doing it over and over again, knowing that even if you were done with the relationship, you know that you're a smart enough person. I mean, they're both dummies, but they're smart enough to know that they're going to humiliate this person that they loved and cared for. And Ariana especially, I had just rewatched the whole series.
I know, I wanted to
just
ask you
randomly,
about this.
It was so random. Before all this happened, I was recovering from a health thing, and I rewatched it. But she always had her back and his back.
Always.
Crazy amount.
Unwavering.
We were blindly loyal to them. I'm not blindly loyal to a lot of people. I do see all sides. But when it came to Sandoval, Ariana, and Rachel, those were three people I was pretty fucking blindly loyal to.
Yeah.
Ariana, always.
Yeah.
Because that's my girl. But with Sandoval, you couldn't say a bad thing about him. I would have a comeback for everything. Same with her. I was their number one fan and friend. And I was so supportive of everything they did. I went to her fucking beauty pageant 3 nights in a row. Left my baby at home to go 3 nights in a row.
3 nights in a row.
Because it was a 3-night pageant and her family wasn't there. So she was going to be by herself.
Oh my God. And wasn't Tom at one alone?
He
came with
to 2.
us. He came with us.
He came with Ariana to one, and then he came by himself to another one, I think.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, I think he came by himself
That's weird.
one time.
It's weird.
Exactly, but at the time, we're her only friends. We're her only support system.
Her family weren't in town. We could do that for her.
Every Tom Sandoval on the Most Extras show, I was at. We were literally...
What is going on with that?
I like that.
Wait,
I like
okay,
watching
hold
that.
on. I need to clear this up because... Last week on the podcast, Michael Rappaport and I were talking about how Sandoval has now changed the lyrics to not only Jesse's girl, but Stacy's mom. And when Michael and I were doing the podcast,
Did you hear about this?
I saw on TikTok.
Stupid.
I was confused because I was like, wait, no, it's Jesse's girl. It's Schwartz's mom. But then I was like, Schwartz's mom has got... I was like, no, this is Stacy's mom. And he does not say, Schwartzy, can't you see Raquel is not the girl for me? No, he says, Schwartzy, can't you see that Raquel is hot? heart for me.
It's sick.
Sick. It's so sick. Just when it's like people want to maybe feel bad for him.
What?
It's
There's
like
no opportunity.
what?
They give no opportunity.
None.
Like it's shocking to me that there are some people. If you kind of like look online and stuff, you see there are a couple of people who like are on their side.
There are a few.
But I like look at it. I'm like, well, if you're watching the same thing, they're
no
not
way.
giving any sort of leeway
No.
for anyone. But maybe you want to be contrarian or whatever it is, or I don't know what the reasoning would be, but it's like they're not really giving anything.
No, and it's just another level of disrespect. I mean, one of the first things they did after all of this was when Ariana was in Canada filming her movie, he had her over for a sleepover. Mind you, the night before, we were supposed to appear in court that next morning. So I'm sitting at court, and she's in his bed.
You had an Elle Woods moment, though, when
I
you were
did.
doing that. Like, that was worth it.
I was
Thank
walking
you.
over and I just stopped and let it go for it. This is you.
She was just like, I felt like I don't know if you were giving legal jargon, but there was like a clip
There was
I
a little
saw.
bit, yeah,
I felt
abusive
like-
process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man.
I'm
She is
comfortable
just
using legal
serving.
jargon in everyday life.
It was good.
Wait, I gotta ask.
Okay.
Though, on the finale, Tom alludes to hooking up with somebody else that maybe the friend group knew, and of course, there's these rumors about Billy Lee. So, do you think it was Billy Lee?
I
Who was
absolutely think it was Billy Lee, and Kristen Doty and I were just talking about this after watching the finale this week.
When?
No, I'll fill you in later, honey.
fill us all in, right?
Yeah, let's fill everybody in. You really think
Billy
it was
Lee?
Billy?
Yes, this was what, season 6, I think there was the rumor, 6 or 7.
Oh,
Maybe it was
snap.
the season 7. I don't know. Regardless, sometime around then. Those seasons are a blur to me. I try not to remember those years of my life.
Yeah, we can forget them.
But there was this rumor. Jesse Montana said that Billy Lee and Sandoval hooked up. And of course, Ariana and I are the first people to shut it down. These are our friends. They would never do that. Blah, blah, blah. Fast forward. When I study Sandoval's behavior now, watching the show as a past friend, a fan, a view, and every way, when I watch him now, I see the lies as they're coming out of his mouth. The whole Labor Day thing, it was like, oh, well, I thought you wanted to be, no, fuck you, no. So I'm...
Oh, I couldn't get an Uber.
Exactly. Lies. So I'm in this conversation with him, and as he's saying this to me, I didn't think that there was maybe someone else. But when I watched it back, and when I spoke to Kristen after she watched it, she goes, there's at least 2 or more. Because the way he said it, he goes, there was one more time, like, no, you didn't know. Well, yeah, but I'm not going to say. I'm like, you're talking about 2 different girls. You're saying one time there was someone where it's like, no, you don't know her. But then you're like, oh, wait, fuck. But then there was that other time where you do, but I'm not going to throw her under the bus. So I do think there were at least 2 times he cheated on her outside of Miami Girl. Because Miami Girl is
This is
confirmed.
you think.
He was confirming Miami Girl in the
Yes.
episode. That's I got a little confused.
Yes.
I was so on the edge of my seat. My blood was like rushing to that whole episode.
The whole
When it
episode.
started, let me just say, I want to go on the record right now and say bravo to Evolution and to
Incredible TV.
everyone. We deserve an Emmy.
Totally.
The editing of the show this season, from episode 13 with the back and forth and the Labor Day and the rewind and fast forward. Iconic, epic,
and
but
Shakespearean, the dialogue, even like
Yes.
the Ariana and Tom scene. I hate to say that because people already say that you guys are faking the whole thing or whatever.
Oh, God,
but
no.
it was, you can't script something
You
that
can't.
good.
You can't.
Yeah.
I really would like Bravo. You should do a show on making these shows, like
Yeah,
an
like
extra
behind the
6-part
scenes.
episode where it goes episode 1, 2, and 3, the making of, because you'll
Yeah.
then actually understand that these are conversations we're having, and all we're trying to do is give you a very clear conversation and give you a pathway through this craziness.
I have a fantasy that Bravo does a show where they cast it like a Housewives or Vanderpump Rules or something, but they don't tell the cast that the show is going to be just a fully breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
So you really get to see
You
the
really see them
personalities
just
and
be
you
there.
Yes.
miking up and everything. I feel like that would be so good.
Well,
It
yeah, because
honestly-
you would. You should see the shit that happens on the other side of the cameras.
But
It's
that
interesting.
was one of the best things I thought about this finale is the way it starts off. It's like March 1st, 2023. And it's like, and then you see, we're on Watch What Happens
Happens
Live.
Live.
When have we ever been on Watch What Happens Live on Vanderpump Rules? They barely barely started doing it on Beverly Hills Housewives and maybe some
They've
of the other
always
housewives.
treated them as just like you guys are
But
bartenders.
the
You aren't
fact
celebrities.
that in Tom and Rachel's scene, when they kept, oh, we can't kiss because of cameras, and when they talked about just every time breaking the fourth wall, I thought it was epic. Everything evolution that y'all did with this season and this last
Incredible.
episode was fucking incredible.
Yeah. Wait, not to go back, but so you said there was at least 2 other women.
Yes.
You think?
Yes, and I think I know who they are.
Who are they?
So one
my God.
theory is, of course, Billy.
Yeah.
But the other theory is there was a lead singer who was with Tom Sandoval and the most extras in the beginning, and all of a sudden just was gone, and there wasn't really an explanation. So
interesting.
that's the theory, because it's like, well, you knew her, but you didn't. But then there's the one, the Billy, that you knew. And
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the theory. That's what Kristen thinks, and Kristen Doty's usually pretty right. So
I seeing Kristen pop up on the episode.
How was that?
How
I don't know. All
iconic.
of it was just the whole episode. The only little note that I had, it's not even a note, but because I was just analyzing the episode in my head, I'm like, okay, this. But I loved how it ended with you and Sandoval. But my only little thing was I kind of wish they had Katie in that scene, because it would have been the OGs ending that kind of thing. But
yeah,
I
but it would have
understood.
changed
It would have
the
changed it.
entire dynamic. Katie and I, at that point, had barely started speaking again. Sandoval and I have always, up until March 1st, had a very close friendship. Back in the Miami Girl days, I was not too keen on him, and obviously I was trying to get Ariana out back then. But when I realized this was going to be friendship ending with Ariana if I kept coming for her man, and I knew I just needed to let that go, respect her decision. She's making the best choice for her. And Sandoval and I became closer than ever. So that scene was literally 2 best friends. Just it was like a final conversation.
Yeah.
It was a breakup. It really was. It was at the end of it. I didn't know how the conversation was going to go. Going into it, I'm like, is he going to come in angry? Is he going to be yelling at me? Is he going to be
got out of
crying?
there. I was like, I don't know
the
what to say
funniest
to you,
moment
bro.
of that whole thing, I think it was right before with Brock. He brought in a package,
Yeah.
and Brock, I think you thought it was a gift, like an apology gift, and he's like, "Oh, it was outside your door." Oh my god, it's so fucking funny.
I'm like, all right, bro, listen, I don't know what to
Oh,
say
you brought
to
a
you,
gift, thank you.
but I'm out of here. You got to deal with her. I'm
I'm
out.
not like offering you a drink when you come in, you know? Like it was the hardest scene I've ever filmed in 10 years. When Shay and I filmed our divorce, I didn't know that conversation was going into a divorce. I thought we were going to make up. He was going to be honest. And when I knew he wasn't being honest in that, then the whole scene switched. But that was like a audible in the moment. This conversation going into it, I've never had so much anxiety. I had no idea how it was going to go. I'm like, how do we end this conversation? I'm not hugging him.
Yeah.
Either I'm going to tell him to leave
Get the
or
fuck
I'm
out.
going to have to leave. And it just, at the end of it, I'm like, I was just so sad. Like,
I don't know how any of
they
you
broke
filmed
my heart too.
with him. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a really tough time.
Well, yeah, it's hard. I mean, I only knew him a little bit, you know, like I worked on a book with them, and I got to know, but Ariana and I got close, and I feel like I just never got super close with him in that way. I didn't think. But so even with that relationship, it's like you feel so protective of Ariana that it's like the emotions get so heated.
Yeah.
And so you do get really upset. And so I keep thinking, though, those people I mentioned who are kind of like defending Tom, I'm like, well, imagine if he did this to your friend.
Yeah.
You'd be like livid. No one would allow that. You'd be livid.
Yeah.
I mean,
It makes it tough.
unforgivable.
It doesn't. And then I mean, even like talking about it now after we just watched that episode, like I felt bad for them before, but at the same time, it's like you got to show some remorse. This didn't help
Show
their case.
something.
Yeah.
Because then I think people would. You would be like, well, they fucked up. They made a mistake. Even though it happened a million times, you would
But
at least.
she's
You could figure
giddy.
that out.
She's smirking.
She's smiling.
They're cheersing. They're like, oh, we can't kiss
Scheana,
because
that
of
was
cameras.
disgusting.
It was sick.
Disgusting.
I've watched it 3 times now, and every time I'm just like, oh my god, I'm
And
not okay.
What about when they was it sort of accidental where they said I love you? Or
said-
He
goes-
said they love you, and she goes,
She-
oh,
Oh
I
my
love
God.
you too.
It was cringeworthy.
like I've
Cringeworthy.
never seen something like that. I mean, if you ever watch The Office, it's like there's moments on there where you
Yes.
just cringe
Yes.
humor. That's what I felt like watching that scene of just like, oh, they accidentally said I love you for the first time on camera. crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, what do you think
Asking about the
your family
families.
thinks about this? Like, well, they love you. I love you too. I
What
didn't
the
say
fuck?
that they loved you, not me.
But also, he
But I
didn't
love
just
you
let
too.
it slide. He was
He
like,
caught
no, let
up
me
on it.
correct
Oh.
you. I did not say I love you, but okay, I love you too.
Wait, so then she just turned off her phone? Did anyone hear about what happened after that? Did they try to... I don't know if you can answer this, but were they trying to get her to film a specific other scene like with you? Or what was the plan?
I would like to have those conversations, but right now Ariana comes first. So I'm letting her make those decisions. And she was like, absolutely, do what you need to do. But then she just went rogue, and we heard she was in Thousand Oaks, or she was in Phoenix or Tucson, or...
Also in that
Her-
scene where
her
she's like,
friend
oh,
got
look at my
hacked.
eye. And I was like, oh my
Oh
God.
my
And
God.
also, can I point out, where was the black eye in the scene with Tom? Where was the black eye? Because the
no, I
next
didn't see
day it
it, yeah.
appeared when she went to urgent care, but it
That's
wasn't
the
there
other
in the
thing.
scene.
Well,
Yeah.
it was. Let's. Okay, I don't want to like. Listen, she just obviously has bags under her eyes anyway, and she has for a while.
Well, we've seen that.
Okay, we've seen those. The scratch on your face will heal, but don't be accusing anybody of throwing a punch.
Yeah. And look, I don't condone violence. My grandma used to say, though, sometimes be careful what you ask for because you might get it. And so I'm not saying, of course, I do not, people don't twist it.
No,
but-
I'm not a violent person. Anyone who knows me, I don't fight. I don't punch. I'm not capable of actually punching.
So you didn't
But
go
in-
Azusa on her ass.
Oh, she
I
went
mean,
Azusa on the ass, but it was just
It
with
was
the
an
push.
Azusa shove.
I just imagine, I understand the no violence thing, of course, but thinking of it from your perspective, like I could just imagine, put yourself in your shoes in
Yeah.
a moment like that where you just found out this two of your friends were hooking up behind your other best friend's back and
Yeah.
betraying her. Like, of course you're gonna be pissed off.
I wanted a reaction from her. And that's why after she grabbed my wrist, I like pushed her because I'm like, say something. Give me something. Give me a
nothing's
tear.
there.
Yell at me. Say you're sorry. Like, there was nothing. It was just blank, and it was like, whoops.
But I almost think, not to turn it back to Tom, but I almost think what he's even more manipulative in showing so much emotion because I'm like, it's all bullshit.
That's the thing. So, okay, his scene with Schwartz.
Yeah.
Do you call bullshit and he was acting, or do you think he was genuinely remorseful and sad, or did he just feel bad for himself?
My opinion is that he's thinking in his head, I am in a scene right now, I got to show some remorse because he's aware enough of how he's being
I'm here
perceived.
hoping that like he realizes like this is a safe place and he needs to let it out and show some empathy or get it out because your world is crumbling right now around you,
Yeah.
and that's before cameras are up.
And your businesses and everything. I don't know.
It's all encompassing,
Yeah.
and that's one thing I want to point out. Like, there's two people involved in that place. Okay, you guys, like, I think there needs to be a backpedal of that aggressiveness towards like tearing everything else down. Judge the man, judge that, but then there are the people that work at that place. There are people that have their money in it, like their family,
Yeah.
and so there's like a gray area on that.
Yeah.
Enough of that.
I get it, but I also think like, you guys put your name on it and
Exactly.
then you fucked up. Like,
Don't have those actions if you don't want the consequences. You are a public figure. You're on a television show. If you're going to act a fool, expect the repercussions. I'm not saying I think that Schwartz and Sandy should be burned to the ground,
right.
but you've got to expect repercussions. You got to expect
and
people
people-
tagging
yeah.
up the bathroom.
And-
It's going to
yeah.
happen
Wait,
because you were a
what?
piece of shit.
I didn't even know, are people doing that?
That's what I
It
mean.
was-
Like, there's
Yeah,
a level
yeah.
where it's like, and then there's a level where it's like, okay, what are you
It
really
was
doing?
like lipstick on
Doesn't matter.
the
It's all the
mirror
same.
and said Team
I kind of
Ariana.
think people should, if you don't, it's good to, if you don't want to go and not support the business.
Yeah,
like,
but
of
no
course,
need to
that's
get
your
out
right.
Exactly,
to it.
just
but
don't go.
I don't know about vandalism and stuff.
No.
It takes things.
No, but it's like-
but there's a fine line between your guys, the following on the show, and we're seeing the impact it's actually having.
Yeah.
And then just the shoot. Social media was already aggressive. I can only imagine what's going on in their page right now after
Yeah.
this episode.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
really
yeah.
can.
Yeah,
like,
it's-
and like, I hope you guys are great. I hope you guys are fine. But
Yeah.
know that like you guys, the only way forward for this group for them is literally actions, keeping your mouth shut, and just doing the right thing,
Yeah.
and showing everyone that you are remorseful and you understand your actions. That's how I see the only way for that to come forward. And it's going to take more than a season for anybody to have these conversations with these people.
And don't make excuses. Just, you have to just
Exactly.
say you're sorry. Like, yeah, I screwed up.
Just own it. You fucked up. But
Yeah.
like Rachel has still yet to do that. Her apology to Ariana was such bullshit. It was a text message that was like, I don't have words, but sorry.
Wait. Okay. Wait till you see, because the reunion's coming up, right?
Yeah, next
Oh, I
week.
can't
Guys.
We haven't seen
this
it yet,
is-
but I lived it.
This is the tea. I'm putting it out there. You have to watch all three. And then
Obviously.
remember this conversation. Then think about what was said from 1, 2, and 3. And it is going to blow. You think it's bad? It gets fucking worse.
So, Scheana, were you just watching from far away?
I was eating popcorn.
Yeah, we had a trailer set up that has, I think you saw a little bit of this on the reunion preview that came out. You see Rachel and Tom in a trailer
the
together.
side.
Oh, yeah.
So we basically swapped places. So the trailer was a little over 100 yards away. So when I have to leave set.
So they hopped in cars.
I
they
get
went
in a
around
car,
the block.
she leaves the trailer, and we made it so we were never in the same vicinity as each other.
100
But we
was it 100 yards?
It was,
100 yards. So
minimum.
so her
Imagining
car
like
went
a
out.
production person having to
Right?
measure.
No, they had
They
to.
had to. Because Scheana, at
I
first
almost
off-
wasn't going to come because
Yeah.
I'm like, if you guys can't abide by the restraining order, I could literally get arrested on set, and I'm sure that would be great for TV.
Also, though,
but
how fucked up though that she couldn't just go into that reunion and be like, you know what, let Scheana be here.
Yes.
She obviously nothing really happened.
she wasn't
She
actually
abused the
afraid.
We'll cover that. She did abuse the process, and when we went to court, there were people in there that actually needed that system. We
Yeah, it
wasted
broke my
people's
heart.
times.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the first problem with that. The second one was she was in bed with Tom at his house and didn't come to court. The second part was when you guys
Third.
watched the third part is when you watch the reunion. The BS that comes out of her mouth in the beginning about this whole process thing, and you're gonna laugh about it when you see it. It is absolutely ridiculous.
Because she's not smart enough to probably
Not
come
even-
up with a reason.
No.
of-
I promise you, brain cells at this point in time was like, this will work, but unfortunately, just watch and see.
Lala said it best. Rachel goes into scenes with, and we've seen this on reunions from the past, whatever interviews she's in, she goes in with a set plan, a script, so to say. You know, she's a pageant girl. She's memorized her speeches. And I remember at, I think it was the season 7 reunion, I was wearing like a green velvet dress, whatever reunion that was. I think it was 7. And Raquel is sitting next to me. Back then, she was Raquel. She was my friend then. And she's sitting next to me, and she starts the same sentence over, I think 3 times. And I was like, oh, you rehearsed this. And then after she told me, she was like, yeah, I had a speech. Like, I rehearsed it. And so with all of this, recently, you know, it's like she had a plan. This was how it was going to work out. And Lala said it best. When her plan doesn't go accordingly, it's like she short circuits, and then she's like, wait, shit, what do I do? It's like,
Brock, you were at the reunion, right?
I made an appearance, but I was purely there for support, like with this whole thing going on, and so I rocked up, and then I met her in the trailer, and that was an experience in itself because I didn't just get to watch the reunion, I got to watch all of it from the TV, and I
I'm
walked in
jealous.
there, and I was just kind of like, I'm a fly on this wall. Is this really happening? And it's everything that went out throughout that day. I was 100% was just eating popcorn and just watching the whole thing.
I would give so much money to pay-per-view if I could just watch the unedited
That was
footage.
what it was. I was just there, and we were just blown away with, because obviously it was everyone going in on them, and we were just listening to it, and we had front row seats.
well, did you see that Peacock just posted that they're doing extended episodes for the rest of the season, like extra
wait.
scenes
For
and
all of the
extended for the
episodes?
reunion?
Damn,
yeah,
we need it.
exclusively
We need it.
on
You guys-
Peacock.
Or on your YouTube channel, which we have to get to 100,000 subscribers. We're probably
Wait,
there
Scheana,
already. Let's bump it up.
your vlog really was the saving grace of this season.
It was
because
the
all that
hidden
footage.
Mickeys.
I know.
I was saying on my podcast, I was like, she could literally do a whole network of just Sheena's vlog footage because I feel like you always have a new vlog.
Yes, and I have a new vlog every week. My friends are obviously comfortable being on my camera. It's just me with the little camera, and
It's
I
the best.
capture
There's so many hidden Mickeys.
all of these
or
moments.
hidden Scandovals.
Like, especially on my Patreon, I post more videos that definitely have
Get that
more
plug. Get
Scandoval
that Patreon
stuff.
plug.
So, for those of you watching and listening, sign up for my Patreon because there's even more than on my YouTube.
You thought
But-
YouTube was good? Subscribe to that. You think that was good? Go to Patreon. You'll
But
get better.
for the YouTube, all of you people watching this right now, I know this is going to be a highly viewed episode. Just click subscribe. Give me the 100,000,
Yeah, click the
subscriber
subscribe
plaque.
button.
I want
Yes.
the plaque.
And go
I've been
subscribe
doing
to my
this for
podcast
3 years.
too.
Me
wait,
too.
Scheana, I know everyone's going to be tuning in, and I'm worried in my head because I know everyone's going to be listening to this episode. They're going to want all
What do
the
they wanna
dirt.
know?
I'm trying to make sure I get everything. So I'm thinking, we got to get into the Schwartz of it all.
Yeah, let's
The
just get
Schwartz
to
of
the
it all.
bottom.
Get into
The Schwartz of it.
So do you... his story seems to have changed a bunch of times about like when he knew, when he didn't know. I love the scene where him and Ariana were sitting down and she's like, I'm not friends with her anymore. I thought that was like a good stand to take.
Yeah.
But what do you think about what Schwartz knew? Or do you think he should turn his back on Tom?
See, I think Schwartz was put in a very tough position because bro code, you have your boys back, but you tell them to do the right thing.
Yeah.
I think that Schwartz genuinely did find out after the wedding. I do believe that. I don't think Schwartz is the type of manipulative person who would act as a decoy willingly and kiss her. I think those feelings in that moment for him were real, and he felt a spark and he went with it. And then he even said in his interviews, he felt like that kind of got his Schwartz back, and it just like felt good to be wanted by someone young and whatever.
It's
no
also
other
textbook midlife crisis. Like
100%.
Like crazy. The way that Sandoval kept
100%.
saying it in the episode.
Yes.
It was crazy. He just, I turned 40, and it's like you're literally just a textbook midlife crisis
100%.
with
So-
the band and the hair and the nail. I mean, all of it.
I know. So I do think he found out after that. But the problem is that was the end of August. We didn't find out until Ariana found Sandoval's phone on stage. Someone handed it to her, March 1st. So between end of August and March, why didn't Schwartz say, Sandoval, I've had enough covering for you. Now you have invited her to Big Bear. They're doing this like double date, which maybe Schwartz wanted Joe to come, but then Joe brought Rachel.
We don't know that. We don't know
we
the
don't know.
context behind all the double dating because because Schwartz also isn't living in a cloud half the time anyway, so he's kind of just like
Right.
hanging out.
But
so it's not like he really cared.
Biggest issue with Schwartz is I don't think he ever once said to Sandoval, if you don't tell her by Valentine's Day, I'm telling her.
Right.
So put the fucking pressure on him. Be a good friend. Light a fire under his ass for once. Don't be so passive and submissive.
And I don't
and
care
like,
if it's your very best friend. You still talk to your best friend. You say, oh,
Yes.
you did this thing, and I'm going to tell her in 3 days.
Yes.
Or whatever amount, whatever the number
You
is.
need-
Yeah.
you need
In
to
2
handle
hours,
that.
if you don't tell her, I'm going to tell her. Or in
Exactly.
a week, this is a date. Because otherwise, they'll just keep dragging it on.
And that's the thing. It's
and he
like,
never did that.
No, he never did. And Schwartz also had a very strong friendship with Ariana. She was a fucking groomsman for him in his wedding. So as much as it's like, okay, yeah, you could understand that Tom's his best friend, he had bro code or whatever, there needed to be a time to break that out of respect for Ariana and say, if you don't tell her by this day, I've had enough, I'm done doing it, I'm telling her. And he never did that.
I think it puts him in a first off, you're expecting him to do something that his character doesn't do, which is like stand up for himself and other things. And we love him for that endearing self. But it gets you in trouble when you have to have serious conversations. And so I don't think we're all expecting him to do this when it's not even in his personality to do that. Schwartz was put in a really shitty
He
position
just gets away with
because
so much shit. That guy on your show, like, he gets away with everything.
I literally got so much shit all season and he didn't.
Yeah, because he's like a little puppy dog. People just let everything slide. And even this season, I've said it a million times, but it's like this season, I think by the end of it, he would have looked, without the Scandoval, he might have been the villain of the season.
Yeah.
And he still is on some level, but yet somehow, again, he sort of slides by and
he
he's
just puts
not
on
a
his
villain.
socks and his flip-flops and goes out and just
Put on some closed-toed shoes.
But I can forgive him for that because he was in a really shitty situation, and so that's where he gets my pass from for me. But he also, no one can handle that situation. I don't know. I mean, for us, it was just so different. No one expected him. For him, if he knew longer, he definitely had to have said something, and and I think he's apologized for that multiple times.
Well, yeah, he apologized to Ariana, but I don't.
I
still
just
think
don't
he
know
gets to play the middle all the time.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't
he
know
lives
if
in the
we'll
middle. He's
ever
Switzerland.
fully get the truth of the timeline. I think everyone's stories are going to keep changing a little bit. And it was like, oh, Schwartz said end of August. Then Sandoval's like, wait, what? And then he's like, well, yeah, about the... And it's like, did you guys not get your
what's
timeline
the-
right?
yeah. Brock, have you heard from either of the Toms? Like, do you communicate with them?
When this initially went down, I sent a message across just stating where I was at with everything. I said, listen, because obviously you have that bro code and the girl, but I was like, there's none of that right now.
Yeah.
Understand that you're about to go through this. Understand that I cannot condone any of this, and it's going to be a long way for you to come back from this. And that was it. I kept it very short and simple because. Yeah, there's no other side to be on in this situation. And then with the Raquel stuff, I was really hoping that she'd grow up and just try and say something, and she never has. And for me, I was just kind of like, and for me, I'm very easy at just being like, all right, next, you know.
Do you all have a group text for the whole show?
We have separate
it's like side little
ones.
hustles.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like
But
I
there's the
have
Ariana
one.
support group is like the main one.
Okay, good.
That's the hub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I have one just with the girls. But then there's like certain things where it's like me, Ariana, and Lala have one. But then me, Ariana, and Katie have one.
Yeah.
And then the four of us have one. And so there's several group chats. But
Have you heard from Rachel or Tom in any of the group chats?
no, they're not
Oh,
in
they're
any
not
of the group
included in
chats.
They're gone in the
No,
group
no, no.
chats. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't had like a cast group chat in a
Couple of years.
long time.
So have you heard from any like old cast members? I'm so fascinated by like Vale and Laura Lee and stuff like that.
I haven't heard from them.
Okay.
I mean, Kristen, Jackson, Brittany obviously are very close friends of ours, so I talk to them on a regular basis. Jackson, Brittany will be on the podcast soon. Stay tuned.
I'm begging you to bring Laura Lee back, like just for a scene. Just invite her to a party or something. Like I'm begging all of you to do it. Please.
Okay. I need to get a hold of her. I don't know if she still has the
She'd
same
give
number.
Tom Sandoval the business. Like have a party where Laura Lee could come in. I just feel like we need her. I just need her thoughts on the Scandoval, or maybe get her on Scheananigans or something. Like we need Laura Lee.
Yeah.
You should do that. You should get him on on here.
I
Yeah.
just rewatched from the beginning, and Laura Lee in that first season is so good. She was only around for a little time, so if people are new to Vanderpump Rules, they might not know Laura Lee. But go
Right.
back and watch. She's good.
We
TV.
watched her.
What
right?
is the best thing about watching back the show? What are some things that you have realized now with everything that's happening?
Well, I hadn't rewatched the show. I mean, I watched from the beginning, and then like we talked about earlier, there's a couple seasons where it drops off, and it's shitty, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But going back and rewatching, it was amazing to me up through probably season 6 or something. Every episode has like memorable moments, a scandal. I mean, it's like it never lets up. And
Yeah.
especially because I analyze a lot of the Housewives episodes. It's like Housewives has a lot of filler episodes, and we love them for it in other ways. But your show, for those probably 5 or 6 seasons, every single episode is like great TV.
Yeah. And then you get the season 10 finale, and it's the
Yeah.
greatest TV.
And by the way, even
That
those bad
everyone's
seasons,
done.
I think, are probably better than most reality shows.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it just like doesn't let up. It's crazy. It's good
Maybe
It's
I need to go
been-
back and watch him.
I asked you the other day.
I don't
said,
want
do
to.
you want to
You know
go back
why?
and
I don't
watch?
wanna go back
it
and
would be
watch
hard
it.
to like watch relationship
Exactly.
stuff.
Well, not really. Like, I mean, I hang out with freaking all of her exes anyway. Like, that's not the. My problem is how people treat her.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and then for that to be like a bully thing in the group, like I don't do well with that. And
No,
I
you
think
wouldn't
it
like
would
that.
just like case in point, season 9 reunion. Like as soon as I'm not gonna,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna hold back.
Well, there was that thing about the last episode with Terry Maloney, and we love Terry. I think she's
Terry.
the best. But I think about like if that was my mom, like I wouldn't be able to control myself in that situation. Like if somebody was talking disrespectfully to my mother,
Yo.
or even just watching on TV, if I had to watch someone disrespect my mother, like I couldn't deal.
Yeah.
Oh, we weren't there for that.
No, have never been
And-
so thankful to have COVID
Oh, yeah,
in
yeah,
my
yeah, you
life
weren't there,
because
yeah.
I was not able to be there against my will.
And you know what would have happened? We would have blindly defended Raquel.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
we would have been like against the bullies.
Yeah.
And that was the reason why we had that perspective on this whole thing, was because as soon as I met Katie, we sat down at the hibachi table, and I was like, listen, Katie, like you've always looked at me with like a weird eye, like, and I get that you and Scheana have your past, but I'm completely new to this. I'm not going to come in based on, she's like, well, we have a colorful past. I'm like, that's great. We're a new thing right now. So let's just start. And so I always from the get-go I've had that inkling where she just like, I'm not her friend.
Yeah.
And that's fine. We don't have to always be friends. So that kind of set us up to this momentum of like, oh, okay, Scheana got bullied by these girls. Scheana was always got picked on by these girls. And Scheana also put herself in these situations where she could get picked on by these girls.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that she's the victim here.
But look, we're all making progress. Katie
Are you and
and
Katie
Terry
good?
were at my birthday
They were.
last week.
Oh, yeah, I saw online.
Dana came.
I would
like,
tell
we're all
anyone,
in a
if
good
someone
place.
says something about someone's parent, I'll tell them to shut up.
Yeah.
Because that's kids and parents should never come into a conversation
Off
of an adult.
limits.
Oh, like I just
It's like
especially Terry's so sweet, and
She's
wasn't there
so
like
sweet.
people were saying it was cut that Tom said something like shut up or someone, I don't remember what the
Yeah, I
details
know
were.
Sandoval kind of got into it with Katie's brothers because then her brother got involved. I don't know if they both were there, or maybe it was just Joey. But yeah, that he was like annoyed that the family got involved, and it's like, oh, because they're going against your mistress. Is that why? Is that why you're upset?
Well, no, we would have done the same thing. We would have backed Raquel because we were looking out
No,
for
I'm
Raquel.
saying Sandoval specifically going after Katie's family. It's like, you know what you're doing wrong, motherfucker.
Well, yeah, there's that different.
Yeah, yeah.
'cause
Exactly.
He knew that
We would have been defending a good person.
Yeah.
He's defending his mistress.
How
wait, so-
crazy is it for a fan of the show
It's wild.
to watch this, watching the 9 years banked of just commitment to this season? What
feel like
was it?
we in some ways deserve this moment because of the flop seasons. But it's hard to watch, but it's also like, just again from a technical perspective of television, like it's great TV, and it's really, every single episode has been really appointment viewing, and it's so interesting to watch it. The way that the scandal happened and it became public, and then the episodes were airing, and it almost became like a weird murder mystery.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways,
because it was like
you're
a
looking
hidden
at
Mickey
clues.
situation. Because you literally went back and nothing was changed, and you're like, oh, boom, 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 boom.
And it adds so,
So
much
crazy.
subtext
Yeah,
to everything that
it's
was
so much
happening.
more
So it's
deeper.
like every conversation between Tom and Ari, or even the Vegas trip. It's like, I remember just watching that right after the scandal was public, and thinking, oh my God, this is happening
was it.
when
That was it.
she just loses her dog. Like,
Yeah.
that's so up.
That's
that,
right when it started.
Like, because and you
Outside,
know how
in
much
the-
she
in
loves
the- in
her
the Volkswagen.
dog.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the fact that happened, and then we learned today or this week on the episode that it was that night that
In
they
the
were
car.
hooking up in the car outside,
Yeah.
and then she had to let him in. It's like, it's fucked up. Like, and just
Yeah.
even if you
I
wanted to break
know.
up with this woman, you were still in a relationship, and you loved her at some point. You loved the dog too. You just lost, and you knew her grandmother who passed, and it's like, to not have any remorse is psychotic.
It's disgusting.
And to do it then in the driveway, and I mean, even then continuing, even after the Scandoval happened, to have Rachel at their house
Yes.
that Ariana co-owns, it's like, in what world do you think that's a normal thing to do, to invite your mistress over?
Entitlement.
It doesn't- I don't
No
give a
respect.
fuck if Ariana's
Entitlement.
not there, or if she's off filming a movie or doing whatever. But to have her
Get a
there,
hotel.
it's so disrespectful,
Yeah.
and it's so I don't know. It's like it's almost like you're trying to humiliate her. But I said this on my show. I think Tom Sandoval, it's like a narcissistic quality, right? Like, where I don't think he cares about being the villain so much. Like, I think he is more. I think it bugs him more that people are rooting for Ariana than it does that he's the villain.
I actually think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you there, because it's like he has always tried to steal her thunder, and he has always been the person who has done this. I literally said it in like season 3 when I had the conversation with Ariana's mom about him, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, she is always like comparing herself unfavorably to him, and he's always like trying to be the star and trying to be this and that, and I hated that part about him. And especially when it came to the cocktail book, he literally inserted himself into that, and it was just like, let her shine, let her do her thing.
But she's shining now.
She is
She's shining.
Bright.
shining bright
Wait, so
like
do
a
you know
diamond.
do you know the hot new boyfriend? Do you-
Yes,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
actually hanging out
Are
with
they
him
officially
tomorrow.
boyfriend?
I don't know that they're putting a title on it, but they are seeing each other.
They're grooving.
We
They're grooving.
stan Dan. I love him.
Good.
And no, he is great. We're seeing them. We're flying to New York tonight, actually, and
Okay.
we're gonna be with them tomorrow.
Good.
So yeah.
Well, I want to meet him.
Yes. No, you definitely will. He'll be out here. We didn't even get to.
Let's
any
wrap it up.
of
Let's do like a
our
quick like rapid
questions.
fires. You go, you go,
yeah.
bum, 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 bum. Real quick, but
Well,
they
no,
have to
they
be quick
keep like
answers.
knocking on the door.
Oh, do we have to go?
Did they?
I think I've
No,
like
no,
seen
she was just
hands
chatting.
come
That
up
was
like
just
several
her.
times. No, she like went like this to the door. So
Get the fuck
She was
out.
just talking. Don't worry about it.
okay,
Go, rapid fire.
Wait, so am I? Can we
Yeah,
use this
you
for
got
my
it,
show
you got
really
it.
quick?
No, yeah, we do have a recording.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like at 5.
okay.
Oh. Well, go real quick. Go.
Okay.
No, I just wanted to know, Brock, what do you what's the vibe amongst the men like right now? Like, are you scared? Did this like make you think like, oh, I better not fuck up?
Listen, we're for me. Well, the problem is from this Scandoval, there's all these stories and all these like accusations, and for me, being in the relationship, it affects our relationship of all these stories that come out, even when they're not true. Okay, so it's just there's a lot, and so for me, I'm just keeping my head down. All I can do is focus on my relationship and being there for the girls. And I think all of the guys are in survival mode, making sure we do the right thing, because you just do the right thing, and we can have fun. I'm working. I got my hands busy. I got summer. We're good. You know, and when we get into this summer, I'm looking forward to this summer to hang out with the boys and kind of like talk about this. But for now, I'm making sure my home is safe. If my home's safe, then we can go outside and do whatever we want.
Because you know the fans will fuck you up if you fuck up.
They'll find you.
There
We're
we
not
go.
going to do it.
Yeah.
And Scheana, do you like Allie? Do we like
I
Allie?
love
okay,
She's
Allie.
great.
I do too.
Literally, I'm obsessed with her. I just told her this yesterday. I said, you are the best addition to this group.
Yeah, I was
love
skeptical
her.
at first, but now I love her.
Yeah,
You
same.
should do a reading. She does oral readings.
I know. She's from Ohio.
Yeah,
Tell
she
them
does
from
all-
Ohio.
yeah, she does
I
all
like
that.
her. I love
Yeah.
her.
Well, we had a million questions to get to, and
we
we
do
didn't
this
get to
again?
any of them. So I think we
should
need to
wrap.
do this
Yeah,
again.
we'll do it again.
We should
You guys
wrap.
have to come on Everything Iconic.
Done.
I love you both. And yeah.
I think
I call
everyone
you
already knows.
Shishi on my show.
I know, I love
which
that.
I hope is okay, because I know Lala calls you
Shishu. Yeah, but I like Shishi better, actually.
And I always talk about Brock's thighs, because we love Brock's thighs. And he's got them out loud and proud right now. Thank you. Thank you, Brock.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm sure everyone already knows where to find you, but tell them where they can listen to your podcast, buy your books, all the things.
Yeah, I'm at Danny Pellegrino on Twitter and Instagram. My podcast is Everything Iconic. And then I have a book called How Do I Unremember This? It's in paperback June 1st. So you can get it. It'll be at stores everywhere.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back next week getting into some more reunion shenanigans.
Wow.
Oh, I can't wait.
I've been searching for this all my life.